Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here today. This is going to be officially my first FlossTube video. Yay! I have been thinking about doing FlossTube for quite some time, but I've been scared to do it. And I thought, you know what? If others can do it, I can too. I'm not looking for 1,000 or 20,000 viewers, subscribers. I'm just looking to share what I love, show others what I do, and go from there. Um, so that's it. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, this is my first time recording a video, so I do have notes. I had to have notes, otherwise I will get all discombobulated. Um, but I wanted to first start off by telling you about myself. My name is Joanne, and I live in Florida. I live in a town called Sebring. It's in Central Florida, and I've been here for almost 30 years. I am originally from Puerto Rico, and we moved. My family decided to move to Florida in 1991. I was either just turning 8 or just turned 8 years old. So I've pretty much grew up here in Florida. I have 3 children. My youngest, her name is Becca, and she is 15. I have an 18-year-old. His name is Jeremiah, and my oldest, who is 19, is Eli. Those are my children. They are in this area with me. Um, but anyways, I'll tell you more about them later. This is not about them. It's about me, and FlossTube and my cross stitch. Um, I started stitching in the summer of 2021. During the pandemic, I was never left. I didn't have to leave work. We didn't close down. I work for an organization where we help individuals look for work. And so there was no option to closing office. I worked from home for a few months, and then we went back to the office. So it's not that I started stitching because of the pandemic. I know a lot of times people say, well, I started doing this because, I was stuck at home. No, I was working, and I was working full time. For me, nothing stopped with the pandemic. Um, but I was actually a diamond painter. I was diamond painting at the time, kind of ran into that. I don't, I was doing puzzles, so I started doing crossword puzzles. Started out with doing the puzzles online, like on a phone, just an app. And then I thought, well, I'm going to start doing puzzles on the table. So I started buying some puzzles at the time. Of course, it was very hard to find puzzles because, of course, everyone was staying home and they needed things to do. And then in one of the communities that I was involved in, or Facebook groups for puzzles, somebody had mentioned diamond painting, and I started looking into that, and kind of grew into diamond painting, got very addicting, and I did that for about a year. And then one day, one of the ladies in the diamond painting groups was showing off her cross stitch. And I thought, oh my goodness, what is this? Now, my mom has been cross stitching for a long, long time, even before my time. She's been cross stitching. I know that when I was younger, I would probably cross stitch a little bit with her, but I don't know. I don't have anything to show up for that. But I know she's always done that. I just never had an interest. And then in 2021, like I said, I saw one of the group members um, showing off their cross stitch, and I started to give it a try. So then I started looking at YouTube video, or not YouTube, looking around on Facebook for groups, and then I found out about FlossTube, and then I started watching FlossTube videos, and that's where I started. And I always to this day, um, my love for cross stitch started not only from seeing the diamond painter doing cross stitch, but Sherry at the Colorado Stitcher, she started summer camp, and it's an online camp that she started, and she would have it ran from June, July, and August, and she would have simple rules to follow. And I thought, hey, maybe I'll start there. So my first project was actually I bought a dimensions kit from Walmart, and I started doing that June 13th, and I thought, well, it's the middle of the month. She's already started this. I don't know, Joanne. I don't know if you can do this, but we're going to try. So I did. I started it, and then I took off from there. So that's where I started with cross stitching, and I love cross stitching. I thought I was going to be a monogamous cross stitcher, but just like anything else, you start seeing things other people are stitching, or these floss tubers, they start talking about different things they're going to be doing. So I took off. I took off from there. To date, I have about 20 WIPs going. So, yikes. I know that's not a lot. A lot of you out there are probably in the 50s and 60s. I don't think I will ever have that many. I want to be able to finish some of these projects that I have. A lot of my WIPs are, they've been going on for about a year now. So it's time to finish, and that's hopefully going to be my goal, to finish some of the stuff that I have hanging around. Okay. One of the things about me is that I am a frugal stitcher. I'm very resourceful. So I do a lot of thrift store shopping. I do buy a lot of things from Fat Quarter Shop, or sometimes 123 Stitch, sometimes from other small businesses. But I don't like to spend a lot of money if I can use things that we have around the house, or I find a lot of things in thrift stores. So one of the things I want to do, because this is my first video, I want to show off my WIP. So I will do a WIP parade, but I also wanted to share some of the things that I use with my cross stitch, or for cross stitching. So I will share some of that. I want to start with that now. Hopefully, I'm hoping this camera is not moving so much. I'm so sorry. I've got it on a little table. But the first thing I wanted to show, I've got all my stuff hanging here. I bought this at Goodwill. I love to shop Goodwill. Goodwill is my place. This is a tablet case. And when I first saw this, a lot of times people will have like thread bed keepers, or things where they keep their scissors and things like that. I thought, why not try this? So this is not fancy. This is not anything that, I put a lot of time into it, but it's simple and it works for me. Okay. So when you open it up, and okay, that's not going to work. Hold on. Sorry, didn't think all that stuff was going to start flying off. But anyways, what I keep in here, I have some needles that I keep here. And this is just felt. I just cut a piece of felt and I put it there, and voila. So I keep some needles here. I use tweezers a lot. These things are my go-to. I cannot go without tweezers. These things will help get fuzzies out. These things will help get some of those threads from under when I get ready to cut them. A lot of people, they like fancy scissors. They have a lot of scissors. I'm here to tell you that I have one pair of scissors. This is it. These scissors I got from Walmart. They're those, I guess, storks or whatever they call them. $5. Walmart. I keep them here. I do not put scissors with my projects. I take my little notebook thing, whatever you want to call this, and I have it here, and that's what I use. When the scissors go dull, I replace them. But I don't have a lot of scissors. That's it. That's all I use. I do keep a thread thing, majigger, whatever you call this. Nothing fancy. I just keep that in there. Sometimes when I go to thread needles, floss in my needles, I need the help of that. Needle minders, that's a big thing too. I only have one needle minder. Okay, maybe I could do this. Sorry, guys. I only have one needle minder. I don't like putting needle minders on my projects. To me, it's heavy and I don't need it. I keep my needle minder here. This needle minder, I actually got that as a gift from Chris Cross Stitch. He's a YouTuber, FlossTuber. I won a freebie project bag, and this came with that, and I love it. I love it because I like to have my needles standing up, and with those holes there, I can stand up my needle. I can stand it up anywhere. So that's it. That's where I keep my needle minder. That's I do have another needle minder that I got from a kit, but I don't use it. Eventually, if I find more needle minders that I can add on here that stands up my needle, then I will use that. So that's my needle minder. When I started cross stitching, I didn't hear about floss tags at the time. Floss tags wasn't a big thing yet that I know of. So I do buy the little baggies, and I would put a piece of felt, and then I would just put my flosses, whatever I needed, I would just put them in these little baggies. And then I would, draw the symbol. I'm not an artist, but I would, draw the symbol there, and then I will put it in a ring, and I put that in my project. Then for one of my projects, I had purchased, this is one of my first projects. This is really my oldest project. I purchased this little device. There was a lot of threads, a lot of floss, a lot of colors that go with that project. So I thought, why not buy this? So I bought this. I thought it would be a cool little gadget to use. But I only have one, and I used it for this project. I didn't really, I didn't find a need to buy it. It's bulky, and I just didn't have a need to buy it. But I used that to begin with. And then then the floss tags came out. I did get some floss tags from Fat Quarter Shop. They're little floss bitties. I won some of those from a giveaway several months ago. But I don't purchase them. And then I was at Walmart one day buying index cards, and I found these little index cards that came with a ring. Now this is just for one project, but these index cards came on a ring, and they only had the little hole at the top. And then I just bought a little puncher, and I started punching holes on mine. And so that's what I use. And then what I do is I am mainly a DMC floss user. I do have some specialty floss, mainly color and cotton. I do use Anchor as well. But most of my projects are DMC floss. So I'll put the DMC number, I'll draw the symbol, and then I don't put the whole skein of the floss. I don't put the whole skein there. I cut up a couple pieces of the floss. I look at the project, and if I know, oh, maybe 2 pieces of this will work or not, but if I need it, I can always go to my floss box and get some more out. It just keeps my bag less bulky and just less mess. These are pre-cut, so I just pre-cut them and I put them on there. But that's pretty much what I use. I did purchase this last year. I purchased this. This is from Fat Quarter Shop. I purchased this chart. I thought it would be, thought it's a great chart. And so I went ahead and bought it with that. I actually printed all the colors and the symbols, and I just stuck them in the back. So just simple stuff. I am very OCD, so I gotta have things, made where it'll be easy for me to work. But I do have that. This is the only one that I have. I prefer the floss tags, and I just use, like I said, the Angus cards. Um, that's what I use for that. As far as project bags, I started out with Ziploc bags, and then I've heard some floss tubers say, it's not good to keep your projects in bags over time. Things can happen to them. I know a lot of you out there may use Ziploc bags. There's nothing wrong with Ziploc bags. But then I started my collection of bags. Again, Goodwill. Goodwill is my friend. I bought this bag at Goodwill. This is just like a makeup bag, and then I keep my stuff in there. Um, I bought that at Goodwill, and then I had also purchased this bag. Again, just a simple bag, nothing fancy. There is a vinyl front, but nothing fancy. Just keep my stuff in there. Um, And then I thought I wanted to start making project bags. I don't sew, but my mom sews, and so then I have found I had bought a project bag and looked at that and thought, my mom looked at it and she's like, oh, I can make you this bag. This is easy. So she started making me bags, and just simple bags. I bought fabric. I would go out to Walmart and buy fabric, and then she would just make me simple bags. Again, not that I don't want to support small businesses. I think the bags that are out there are great. I prefer the smaller bags. These small bags to me are perfect. I don't have a lot of storage space, so if I can have small bags, those are great. Part of my OCD too is I don't like to have a lot of space in my bags. I like to fill them up. So the smaller, the better for me. One of the things too, when I first started cross stitching, I realized that a lot of people keep track of their projects. And I thought, some people start out with notebooks. Some people have calendars. I am not a planner per se. I don't really like using calendars. So I created what I call my stitchy project sheet in Word. And so I'll show you a sample. And I keep this in a binder. But this is what my stitchy project sheet looks like. I knew that I had to have the title of the project, designer. I found that dimensions, I guess the stitch count was important, something important to have, start date, end date. And then one thing I added was this one has notes. I recently changed this to why I decided to stitch this project. But in my notes, I put on there why. This is actually the first project that I did, and this was my first. I used this for the summer camp by Sharia, Colorado. This was the June challenge. I don't have this project because I give this to my dad's aunt who lives in New York. I visited her last November for Thanksgiving, and I thought I wanted to, so I framed it. I actually stitched my name at the bottom, and I gave that to her. But that was my first project. This is where it all started with this dimensions kit. So I keep this in a binder. This is actually in a little folder because I thought I would put all my finished ones in here, but I thought, I just keep them in the binder. But that's where my cross stitch chart is. I put little designs here just to make it look nice. But again, nothing fancy, just simple things that I enjoy doing. I used to journal a lot when I was in my teens, and to me, that's my cross stitch journal. Where I keep my cross stitch information. And that's it. And that's what I use to keep track of my projects. Now this year, I thought I wanted to keep track of how many days. Now, even though I have the start and end date, I wanted to keep a record of how many days it actually took me to cross stitch. this project. So I didn't do that last year since I started. So then I thought, why not create a calendar sheet? Now I've seen this a lot from other floss tubers. I've seen this around and I know people make these. I just put this in Word. I found a yearly calendar. I put it in Word. And for 2023, I do want to keep track of the number of days. Nothing fancy. I printed it off, cut it, cut the page in half, and then I just write the name of the project up here of what the project is. So that's something I'm going to try. Whether it'll work, I don't know. But I'm going to try. I keep them in the bags with the projects, and then we'll see how that works out. Does it matter how many days it took me? I don't know. But I'm going to try that for this year. Like I said, I do put the start and end date. I don't keep track of hours. A lot of people keep track of how many hours it takes them. I stitch when I can. When my daughter was playing sports, I will take my projects with me, and sometimes I would stitch in the car while she's at practice, or just take them with me to my parents' house if I visit them. So I don't have time to track time. And I don't use an app to work on my cross stitch as far as the chart. I am a paper chart person, so I don't count stitches or anything like that. Unless I'm doing a challenge, and I'll talk about challenges here in a little bit. Some of the challenges that I am going to participate in. Okay. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to show you my projects. First, I want to show you the projects that I finished. Most of my projects, I framed them. I am not a finisher. I try finishing projects, and while I have a couple that I did that were not framed, I mainly frame projects. I recently sent my 4 finished projects to another floss tuber who does finishing, and so I am going to give that a try. She does beautiful work. I see them on her videos all the time, and I thought, why not? Something different. From time to time, I want things to be different. Okay, so I've showed you my first one, which I had a picture of. This next one was a kit. Ooh, hopefully that glare. Sorry about the glare. There is a glass there. This is called All You Need. And this was a kit that I purchased. This was my July 2021 challenge. So the challenge for summer camp was to, oh, I can't believe I didn't write it down. I forget what the rule was. I'm sorry, I forgot. I know one of the rules is usually stitch on something new, or maybe on a designer you've never stitched. One of the rules for 1 month is stitch on a fabric or use a floss you never used. I want to say this was a designer that I've never done before, or maybe July. Anyways, I'm sorry, I forgot. I have my notes here, but I didn't write those notes, so I'm going to have to find out what it is and add that to my journal. So this is all you need, and this is just on a frame, nothing fancy. Like I said, I'm not a fancy finisher. I just put it on a frame, and I have it displayed at my office at work. This next one was also for the cross stitch camp. This was, okay, so new to me floss and fabric, or fabric was the challenge. This was for August, and so I chose this design, which actually it was a different color, but I wanted to change that, so I used my own colors. It is anchor, so this I had never used anchored. Like I said, I started out with DMC, didn't really know anything about any other flosses but DMC. So I used that, and this was my August challenge. I'm sorry you can't kind of see. There's 3 different colors there. There's a lighter one, and then a dark one. And again, I just framed it, nothing fancy. I found this frame. I do think I found this frame at Walmart, just because I needed something different. And I stitched this on Fiddler's Cloth Ada. I will tell you, Ada or Aida, that's my floss to go. I like the stiffer the better. Not too stiff. I do find some soft Adas, but some of the hand-dyed Adas and flosses, or excuse me, fabrics, I just don't like. So I go for more of the stiffer. I do buy a lot of my fabrics from Michael's, which is my local craft store. I don't have an L&S nearby. Michael's is it. Joann's Fabric, there is one about 45 minutes away. I'm not usually in that area, so I don't go there. So Michael's is my store to go. And that was on a 14 or 18 count beige Ada. My next one was a Fat Quarter Shop exclusive. This is where I first found out about Fat Quarter Shop and some of the things they do. I love them. I love what they do. Their charts are so simple to do, and I like them. And so I started out with this one. This is Stitchography. This is one of their World Stitch Day in August of 2021. They created this stitch. This was for a SAL or a stitch along. Now, one thing about me is I'll join in on the stitch alongs, but I'm more of a start along. I will start them, but it's very hard for me to keep up with them because I stitch other things. I am not a monogamous stitcher. I stitch on whatever I like to stitch. So I'll start something, but I don't usually keep up. But I did finish this. This one took me a couple months to finish. I just stitched this on a regular Ada 14 count white. I did buy the Cosmo thread pack that Fat Quarter Shop put out with this. So I did, and that was my first time using Cosmo. So that was kind of neat to use. I really like Cosmo. With this chart, it came with the Cosmo pack came with a what do they call it? Just a bonus or freebie chart, bonus chart, which was this, Stitcher's Gonna Stitch. So I also stitched this, and I used the Cosmo pack that came with this, with the chart. I used to stitch this. And as you can see, this is really my first time going out of framing. And I just bought these little 3D pop-up butterflies at the Dollar Tree. I found this piece of board. I just glued it and then just stuck this little twine stuff on there. This was my first attempt at finishing a project that was not framed. It was okay. It's cute. I hang it from my office. It's got a little hook on the back, and I hang it on the wall in my office. So that's all from Fat Quarter Shop. Those are exclusives. I also, Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop they created a Cross Stitch University, which I thought was great. Is for beginners, people that want to learn how to stitch. So I purchased, well, the chart was free. It was a freebie. And so I stitched it. I bought the floss, which was DMC. I purchased the fabric, which is lamb's wool. It's Ada. This is a 14 count Ada. And so again, this is another try at going outside of framing. So I did a flat fold. Kimberly did a great tutorial on how to do flat folds. I did buy the sticky boards. I just did not use, I think in her tutorial they used 2 sticky boards for each flaps. I just used one. Again, I'm simple. I didn't want it to be too bulky. And then I added this stuff on the side and then a sticker. Just something to cover where my trim ends. So this also, like I said, all of my projects, they are displayed at work. I don't decorate in my house. just because I don't have people coming over. So I want people to view what I like to do, and so I share these and I have them displayed at home. I'm sorry, at work. And I love it. I can see them. I feel like I spend more time at work. I mean, I'm an 8 to 5 worker, but I spend most of my days at work, so why not have them at work? So that was that one. My next piece, again, I did not frame this. I actually bought one of these frames from, not framed canvases, from Michaels. And this is Stronger Together. This is also a Fat Quarter Shop exclusive. This was actually celebrating Black History Month, February of 2022. They created this. Shanice Spain of So Hooked on Treasures created this piece, and so the idea was to. This was a freebie. I do believe it was a freebie, but they asked that you donate to. It was an organization, and now I forgot. But anyways, I didn't put it on my notes. I don't know why. I need to do better at that. But I did this. Now I did stitch this. This was stitched on my first hand-dyed fabric. This was done on a 16 count caramel by Seraphim. And I purchased this fabric from Garon Stitchery. And I actually stitched this 2/2. I started doing it 1/1, and I did not like how small it was. I mean, my lines were like this little. So I decided, hey, I've got a lot of fabric. Why not just do it? So I did this 2/2. And I love it. It's a bigger piece, and it's cute. And I have this hanging. I actually hooked. I know this is so silly. I'm showing you guys the back of my stuff. But I got one of these clips. I have a felt wall at work. And so I just hook it on the wall, and there you go. One of the things that I want to do too is I want to put the information about my projects on the back. I know that there's Lori Holt. She does these library cards that people post. I want to put, I'm thinking about just typing it up in Word, print it out like on a shipping label, and just stick it on the back of my project. So that's one of the things that I am looking forward to doing this year, is hopefully do some of that. This next piece was actually part of my 2022 cross stitch camp by Colorado Cross Stitcher, and this was for June. And I think the theme was to stitch something that was holiday related. So I saw Pam and Steph from Just Keep Stitching advertise this book by Twin Peaks Primitive. It's the Patriotic Ornaments book that they came out with this year. I believe this year. And so I purchased the book, and I thought, oh, this is great. So I stitched this project. This one's called My USA. Again, with these monthly challenge projects, I have to pick a chart that I think I'm going to finish in that same month. With Colorado Cross Stitcher, you started on the 1st and you ended on the last day of the month. And then as long as you finish it, then you can, your name will be put in for drawings and things like that. Although she's nice about that, she will also do drawings for individuals that actually participated as well, I think. But it's just a fun way to stitch something. And then during those months, and hers are usually, like I said, June, July, August, I focus just on those projects and I get them done. This one I actually finished, I think, in 20 days. So once I finish this, then I can move on to other projects. And again, and then I framed this one. And this one sits in my office as well. But I thought this was a cute, quick project to do. Now, one of the last ones that I'm going to show you that was the finished project was also for Colorado Cross Stitcher. And one of the challenge for this one was to finish it in something other than framing. And this was for July. So you can stitch whatever you want. And that's the nice thing. You don't have to have, Sherry does not set the stitch sizes. So that's a nice thing. You can do them small. You can do them as big as you want. But for July of 2022, she asked that the challenge was to finish it in something other than framing. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do? And I thought possibly the easiest thing to do was to do a pillow. There's my pillow. So I stitched this. I have, this chart was a bonus chart from Primrose Cottage Stitches. This came with one of their booklets, and so I thought, well, this is small. I can do this, and I'm going to stitch it, and I'm going to make a pillow. Now, I will tell you, this is my first and last pillow. I am not a pillow person. When it comes to cross stitching, I like to display my things, and I don't know that I will ever have a dobo to display pillows. I like the framing. I like flat folds, just things that I can put up on my wall or on my bookshelf. But I did this pillow. I actually purchased this fabric from Walmart. I purchased this beehive looking fabric and then just simple blue fabric. It's not perfect. And if you've heard Elaine from Annabella's, it's perfectly okay to be imperfect. You know, my corners are not perfect. This was my first time sewing this pillow. So, of course, I did not do my corners right, but that's okay. I'm happy with it. It's a pillow. It was part of the challenge. I did it. I accomplished it, and I'm happy with it. But this is a cute chart, Primrose Cottage stitches. I am working on one. I'll show you the WIP that I'm working off. This came from their Hive Rules chart that came out last year. So I love the colors that they use on here, that they have for these charts. So there's my first pillow. I don't know that I'll make pillows again. I actually bought a sewing machine because I thought I will make more pillows or do things. That sewing machine is at my mom's house, and that's where it's going to stay. If I need anything done, I'll say, Mom, please. So not a sewer. I'll stick to cross stitching. So those are my finishes from before. Like I said, I do have some finishes that I have mailed out to get finished, and when I get those back, I will share them with you guys. Next up, I want to do my WIP parade. So my first piece, I have these in order of oldest to newest. So because I put start dates, I know when I started them, so I'm kind of putting them in order. If you have any questions on any of these, please message me below. My email will be available as well on my profile. But message me. I'll be more than happy to share any information that you might need that I may not share. But this is my first one here. So this is a Design Works kit. I actually purchased this from Joann's Fabric. Now, I purchased this and I started this in between the Colorado Cross Stitch Summer Camp. So when I finished one project, I needed something else to start. I thought, well, I can start with this. So I started this in July. I also started this in July, and it was just a fun piece that I could do in between the projects. Sad to say that this is as far as I've gotten. Ooh, got a little dark there. That's as far as I have gotten with that project. And I don't want to put it away for good, but I will tell you that there's a lot of confetti stitching on this. And when I work on this, sometimes I get frustrated. And cross stitching should not be frustrating. We should be enjoying our stitching. My next piece, and I'm embarrassed about this one because this was a fat quarter shop stitch along for September of 2021. And I have yet to finish this. This is called All the Trimmings. This was a mystery stitch along, so you only got parts of the stitch along of the prop piece little by little. I think they started out with this piece and then they brought that up. So it went on for a couple of weeks, and so you don't know what you're going to get, but that's the full piece. This is where I am. And this was their Christmas in September stitch along. And I am stitching this on 14 count Ada by Witchell. It's chalkboard black. And I did purchase that from Fat Quarter Shop. This was my first time using anything other than white. And I don't mind using it. I don't mind. A lot of times people have a hard time with black, but I don't have a problem with it. I do have lighting that I keep behind it. But I'm slow stitcher, and I need to pick this up. I need to get back to doing this. I worked a little bit this last couple months. I think I finished 2 stockings, but I haven't gone any further than that. So will I finish this before 2023 Christmas? I don't know, but I guess we'll see. So there's that one. This next one was also a mystery stitch along for Fat Quarter Shop. This one's called Autumn Beauty. This is what the project looks like. It's a cute, cute project. And with this one, actually, I won a freebie from a FlossTuber where I won the whole kit. They gave the chart. Did they give the chart? No, the chart was free. I won the bag. I won the needle minder, which was just this flower, and the classic color work. So this was my first time stitching with classic color works. And I like it. The only thing is that, it's hand dyed. I am a loop starter. So when you stitch with hand dyed floss, you have to kind of find another spot to start your stitching, or I'm still learning on how to start when you have to use 2 strands with those projects. But I like it. And then I did purchase the fabric. This is on Lori Holt's Ada 14 count oatmeal. So this is a I don't know if you call that printed. I don't know if you can see it. There's modeling in this fabric. And that's how, as far as I've gotten with my project. I still have to, I never even finished the gingham border. I kind of got bored with that, so I figured, well, I got it started, and it gave me enough to start the piece. So there. I have that. I did have to, if you've never heard of frogging, I've done a lot of frogging here. I know when I first started with this flower, I had to frog it out because it was 2 rows below. And it was recommended that I start over, because trying to fudge this and trying to figure out, I'm not good at that. I still consider myself fairly a new stitcher, and trying to fix things. The easiest thing for me to do was to frog it out. It was just a flower, so it wasn't a whole lot, but that was a challenge. So yeah, so there's some variegation on there. I don't know if you can tell. I know here you can kind of tell the bird. I don't know what the bird's got going on there. That black just kind of went crazy with the variegation. But I enjoy working on this. It's not one of my favorites, but I do pick it up from time to time. And I would put it on my challenges so that I can put some stitches on there. Even if it's 20 stitches, hey, I made progress. This next project is a modern folk embroidery. This is by Jacob DeGraff. And I started this, I do know I started this because he started Black Sampler November in 2021. And I thought, hey, why not? I've never stitched a sampler. I know samplers are big. And I thought, I'm going to do this. And not to crazy thing is I didn't pick a small sampler. I picked a big sampler. Okay, look at all that detail. Okay, this was my first attempt at sampler. I will tell you, I love this. I have not put a lot of stitching in it. I want to do more work, but I think it's because of the size. It kind of scares me, but little by little I work on this. Obviously, I did not finish this in November of 2021 like we were supposed to, although Jacob says you finish it whenever. Um, will it be done this year? Probably not. So that's the chart. And this is where I am. Yeah, that's all, my friends. That is all I have done on this. I do have this on a scroll frame. This is the only project I have on a scroll frame. I do not have any fancy scroll frames. I bought I used a Q-snap, and I put them on. I bought this stand from Michael's, and it works out perfect. Now for this one, I do have to use two stands, and then I can hook them on there. But yeah, this is where I am. Not a lot of progress, but I love this. I really like this. It's so simple. It's just black. I am using black anchor. And so I just bought a few big spools of this because I knew I would use them. And yeah, so that's where I am. Just little by little I work on this. But I really like this chart, and I'm hoping that I could pick that up again and put some and put some more stitches on there. Like I said, I'm embarrassed because I hardly worked on it last year. I was very much on it in November when he started the sampler, or November, um, but hardly any work got done on it. But that's okay. There's no rules. I don't have cross stitch police coming to get me. This next one is a kit that I also bought at Joann's Fabric. It's called Life is Short. There's the finished project. That's what it looks like. And I'm just using the called for the stuff that came in with the kit, which is a navy dark blue Ada, 14 count. Kits are nice. I'm not afraid to use, if it's Ada, a lot of times people buy kits and they change the fabrics or they do their own floss. I just stick to what it gives me. I'm not picky when it comes to that. If it's Ada, I'll stitch it. If it's DMC, I'll stitch it as well. But I just started it. I really just started this just so that I will not be sitting in the drawer just collecting dust. If I have a project, if I have a chart, even if I just start it, to me that's a WIP, and I'll pick it up as time, just anytime. And like I said, I don't make any plans per se. I will talk about some of that and the challenges, but otherwise I just pick up whatever I want to stitch and I stitch it. So there's that. This next project I started, so Pam and Steph from Just Keep Stitching. Kia B and Pam started this, what's called New Year's Eve 12 by 12. So when they first started this a couple years ago, they started with 12 new starts. This last year for 2022, there was team starts with Kia B and team WIPs with Pam. In 2021, I did 12 new starts. That was a lot. And I had to find little things here and there. A lot of those that I started were not things that I knew I was going to do. I thought that I would do ornaments and maybe give them to my mom to put on her tree. I don't put up a tree here. I have a cat, and so tree and cats are not friends. But I started this for NYE 2021, and I never really picked it up after that. So this is part of my WIPs. I am going to add this to my WIPs, or it is in my WIPs. I just need to start adding it to plans. And I've done that for this month. So, but this is called For Thee. I kind of call it my Live, Laugh, Love piece. This was Lila's Studio. This was a freebie that I found online. I thought it was really cute. And so I started stitching that. Now what I've stitched is I've stitched this heart and the frame of this here. Not a whole lot of progress, you guys. Oops, where is it? Here. Not a lot of progress. That's all I've done. But like I said, I will hopefully pick this up some more in 2023. Add some more stitch, maybe finish a motif. I just work on it slowly, you know. I'm not in a rush. I stitch because I like to stitch. Stitching is very distressing. It helps me when I come home from work. It helps me just kind of relax and not have to worry about anything. It really takes me away from the world. The next one was a kit that I bought from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. They are a company overseas, and they do a lot of different things. I have bought this kit. This was a mystery sal in 2022. I started this, I don't know when I started this. But the reason I bought this was because Chris Cross Stitch, he's a floss tuber, he was promoting this sal. He was going to do the sal, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to try it, you know. I will tell you now, I am not big on mystery stitching. I want to be able to see what I'm going to stitch before I stitch it. I've tried also some other mystery sals, and I didn't like them, and I just quit. I didn't do it. But this one's called How Does Your Garden Grow? This is another one of those projects that I don't know that I will finish. I don't want to put it away. I don't want to get rid of them because I feel like eventually one day maybe it'll just come back to me. But I don't know that I will continue working on it. I haven't picked it up in a while. This is where I am. I don't even think I finished part 1 yet. But this is where I left off. And if it comes back to me again another day, then maybe I'll stitch on it some more. But for now, it just kind of sits with my WIPs, and that's it. I thought about giving up some of these projects and just sending them to somebody who wants to finish it and do whatever they want. I just don't know how to go about doing that. And I really didn't want to do that right off the bat because I thought, again, I'm just going to keep it. And if I want to do it again, I'll do it again. But we'll see. This next one is also Fat Quarter Shop exclusive. Like I said, I do a lot of Fat Quarter Shop stitching. This was actually a sale for the Make-A-Wish Foundation in Texas. And this is a free chart that they provided as long as you donate it. But they asked for people to donate to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I think the cost was $15 or $20. So I made the donation. And I've been stitching on this. Again, this is another one this is called Heartfelt. This is another one that I picked it up. I start working on it a little bit, but I just got distracted with other things. And I'm actually stitching this on, go on this side. I am stitching this on the pale gray gingham fabric. It's a 14 count Ada. This is the I think this was the called for. You can kind of see it. It's just a gingham fabric. Although when I've seen the finishes, the gingham style kind of goes away after you've done stitching it. Let's see if I can get it. You can kind of see it there. But again, something I started and just haven't picked it up again. It is on my WIP pile, and I'll get back to it again. I know Fat Quarter Shop is always doing new things, and I'm probably going to pick up some more of those new things. But I'm not going to finish them on time. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. This next chart, I actually won this from a giveaway from Bumble Stitches. She's overseas. But I won it. I thought, man, this is very cute chart. It's called Farm Life. It is an Isso Emma stitch, also from Fat Quarter Shop. And what I did with this is I actually went out and bought the color and cotton floss because I wanted my animals to have that variegated look. I thought, you cannot stitch this without using the fabric or the floss that goes with it. So this is one of those, again, that I stitch when I can. But I really like this one. I'm stitching this on 16 count Ada by Witchold, and the color is amber. And I did this little bit right here, these ears. I did that for New Year's Eve 12 by 12 this last weekend. And just something to start. 12 by 12 is a great challenge per se to do. You make your own rules, but if I just had a little bit done, that's fine. I mean, in between other things I was doing. But there's that one there. Sorry about my lighting. I'm going to figure out this lighting. But there is you can kind of tell the variegation there on the pigs behind. It's really cute chart. And I'm going to keep working on it. I did add those to some of my challenges. This next one is by Hands on Design. And the reason I purchased this is because I saw other stitchers doing it, FlossTubers, and I thought this was a cute chart. So I purchased the chart. I never purchased anything from Hands on Design. A lot of these are new to me too. And so I started working on this big piece. I am doing it on the black fabric. Oops, sorry. I am doing this on 16 count black Ada by Swigert. And I started this back in May of 2022. And that's where I am. I also had this one on my NYE 12 by 12, and the only thing I did was fill in this orange box. That's it. You get an hour. They tell you every hour you switch up your projects, and that's all I did in the hour. I probably only stitch on it for maybe 25-30 minutes. And that's usually how I stitch. Like I said, I don't keep track of time, but I'll stitch a little, I'll get up, I'll do other things, and then I'll go from there. This next chart was a release from Nashville 2022. And here it is. This is Samplers Creek Needlework Market. I saw this on the list and thought it was a perfect stitch for myself and my better half. Him and I have been together for 5 years. We were high school friends. Well, we weren't high school friends. We knew each other from high school, and we reconnected 20 years later. And so we've been in a relationship for 5 years. And I saw this, and I thought it was the cutest chart. And so I purchased it. And I decided to stitch this for the summer camp this summer for Colorado cross stitch. Oh no, excuse me, Sampler Camp. Sampler Camp 2022. So Sherry started camp in September, and it ran from September to December. I thought, great, this is not a big sampler. I can do the sampler. The challenge was to do a sampler, but to change it, modify it to you. And so with this one was perfect because I could put the date that we met or started reconnected, and then put our initials. I did not finish it. I was close, but I was not being monogamous with this project. I was not a good girl. But I stitched it. It's almost done. So him and I reconnected in December 2017. I did not want to put the exact date. It was actually, we kind of decided, December 25th. But I just thought, December 2017, that's good enough for me. I really just I have to finish this word here, which is amen. And then there's a heart here, and our initials go here. And then the other half of which is the same thing as this here. I just have to put that there. Could I have finished it? Yes. I decided in December that I was going to pick this up monogamously, and then I got sick the week before Christmas, and I did not stitch for 7-8 days. I did not stitch. So I'm blaming my sickness for not getting this done. But there is no excuses. I started this in September. I should have had this done by October, November. But I let other things get in the way, and that's okay. That's okay. Miss Sherry's not going to come over and give me a pow-pow. It'll be fine. I will finish this hopefully in the next month. This January is going to be a little busy for me, but I will finish this. And then I will have it framed. Which, by the way, I frame my own pieces. I don't take my pieces to Michael's to frame. I just feel like if I can just frame them, I'm good with that. Big pieces, like I don't know, that big piece from modern folk embroidery, I will probably have to have it framed, but I don't know, we'll see. This next piece is called Hive Rules. This was also a 2022 release from Needlework Market. I picked it up just because I thought it was a cute piece, and I thought that I would stitch this for maybe my sister or my friend. They have smaller kids at home, and I thought this would be perfect for them to display. I really wanted to have this done by last Christmas, but that didn't happen. But I really like this stitch. This is where I am. I really, really like this stitch. I started this in September. I like this. I like the colors. I don't know those colors. It looks a little blurry. But I really like the colors on this chart. I am a word stitcher. Anything with words, it just makes it easier. Oops, excuse me. It's a quick stitch, but I just didn't spend a lot of time with it. I want to finish this for Christmas this year, for 2023. I really do. I really hope I do finish it. It's a long piece. As you can see, there's, but I really like this. And I'm just stitching this on a white Ada by Charles Craft, and it's 14 count. I am a 16 count stitcher. I do 14, but 16, I do not like 18 count. I don't know. I tried doing 18 count. I didn't like it. So I'm mainly a 14 and 16 count Ada stitcher. So it's going to be a big project, but I like it. So I'm still putting more pieces on there, or more stitches on there. This next one is by Tiny Modernist, The Wizard of Oz Tree. And this one was also a Nashville Needlework Market piece. I am stitching this for my dad. Growing up, this was one of my favorite movies. I like watching this movie, and but my dad always talked about this movie, and he liked watching this movie, and so I thought, why not? I like it. It's pretty. There's a lot of nice colors in there. So I bought this, and I'm actually stitching this with Anchor. I am not using DMC. I am using the Anchor, and that's it. I'm stitching this on 14 count Ada by Wilchold. It is the color Touch of Blue, and here's where that's at. I also added this piece. This was one of my NYE 12 by 12 pieces, and the only thing I added was I started the lion's body. That's it, you guys. That's all I got done during NYE 12 by 12. But I'm okay with that. So that's where I am. Not a lot of progress, but it's there. Now this next piece, I really like. I don't know. This piece to me is just funky. I really like it. This is done by Stitchy Princess. Her name is Katarina from Stitchy Princess. And when Ukraine, she is from the UK. And when Ukraine went into war, she was selling a lot of her pieces to support her and her family. And I saw this on her Etsy shop, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so cute. It's funky. And when I say it's funky, I don't know, it's just there's a lot of funky little things there. But I like it. I like the little bears, and I like just the stuff. I love everything about that. That's really cute. So I purchased this, and I started stitching this in April of 2022. I am stitching it on an 14 count Ada by Swigart, and it's medium green, and I'm using the DMC, all the call for DMC, and that's where I am. When it comes to fabric, I don't always, because a lot of these designers, they use 36 count, 40 counts, they use linen. I just kind of find an Ada that kind of matches, and then I just use that. But I really like this piece. I am almost done with page 1 of this project. So yeah. So there's that one. Now these next 3, I'm not going to call them a fully finished project or a finished project, because although the stitching is done, I still have to put the buttons. And this is Hello There by Hands on Design. And I just thought this would be a cool stitch to have on my wall at work. At work, I have a calendar that I use to tell the day. And I thought, well, I can stitch this and finish it and use that for this year. Now I have these done. These are just on 16 count Ada white. I finished the first 3 months of the year, but I have yet to put the buttons on. I have the buttons, and hopefully I can get those done today and find a way to frame it. There's Hello February and Hello March. So I started working on these. I'm going to start working on April soon, but I figured if I get them, these are quick stitches. These don't take a whole lot of time to stitch, but I thought if I start them early, then I will have them done in time. So I'm already 3 months ahead, and I actually bought some stuff at the Dollar Tree today that I thought I would use to display this. Still haven't figured out how to use it, but just wanted something different. Like I said, I do display my stitching at work, and I thought, well, why not do the months? Oh, by the way, I don't iron my projects. I don't know that I know a lot of people iron their pieces before they do FlossTube. I'm sorry to say that it's too many WIPs, and I didn't want to spend all day ironing, so I'm sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. So yeah, so there's those. Now this one, I mentioned this one before. This was the This is also the fat quarter shop. This is the Be in My Bonnet, the Autumn Love piece that came out this year. This is another one that poor Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, she stitched this in October, November. I think it was 45 days that she stitched this. She really focused on this. I started it. I didn't get very much stitching done on it. This is also a big piece. This is on lamb's wool. This is on 16 count Ada by Witchell, and it's on lamb's wool. And that's all I've done, my friends. That's it. I started the border, and of course, when it comes to borders, they can get boring. So once I get some of the border done, then I start stitching the inside. And then I just kind of work on the border as I go. A lot of times people will stitch all the borders and then they go back. Now I have to stitch as I go because I have to change. And this is why I started stitching other projects, because I don't, with diamond painting, when I did diamond painting, that was the same issue I had. I get bored, or I wanted something different. So I had to move on to something else. Okay. But like I said, I'm going to keep working on these. I don't have any plans as to when I'm going to finish, but I'm going to keep working on them. This next one is called French Country Butterfly by JBW Designs. And I actually won this on a giveaway. I don't win a lot of giveaways, but I've done pretty good. I've got a few little good ones there. But Annie, I'm so sorry, Annie. Annie, the proper stitcher, gave this away and I won this. And so I started stitching it. Now I am stitching this on a 14 count Ada by Charles Craft. There's nothing special about this Ada. It is a printed Ada. It's got some pinkish, bluish colors on there. But I just found this at Michael's one day and I thought, oh, that's a cool looking piece. And so, excuse me, so I started stitching the butterfly. I am stitching this with DMC 115, which DMC 115 is a variegated floss. I am still trying to learn how to stitch with 115. I know a lot of people like to stitch it. I want to see more of the variegation. I don't see it a whole lot here. Like the little bird is red where the rest is dark. I'm still learning how to stitch with this. It shouldn't be that hard, but I just had some challenges with that. I don't know. If any of you have any suggestions on how I can make this look more variegated, maybe it doesn't look variegated because of the kind of chart it is, because with JBW, there's a lot of little pieces. You've got little motifs and you're constantly changing. So maybe this wasn't the best chart to do this. I don't know. But I'm going to keep working with it. I know Stacy at the 911 Stitcher, she uses that. She loves that floss, and so she kind of encouraged me to use that as well. But it hasn't been very variegated, I don't think. I don't know. Maybe when I finish it, it'll look different. We'll see. But there's that. This next chart came from... This is a Teresa Kogut chart, and this actually came from her Let Love Ring book that was released in 2022. And Garon Stitchery, this last year, they started a designer focus month, where every month they have a designer selected. And so I didn't really participate this 2022, but then I decided, you know what, I'm going to start. And so I started for December, and December was Teresa Kogut. And so I picked this chart because it was small enough to start. The Let Love Rain booklet is beautiful. It's got a huge piece, but that piece I just didn't want to start because I'm working on the modern folk one, and I just didn't want to overwhelm myself with big pieces. So I started this piece. Let me see if I can change the lighting on here. And here's where I am. I started this in December, and I'm kind of going to make this my, well, I'm not going to, this was going to be my December Sunday stitch. But I didn't put a whole lot of work into it. And I'm going to still stitch on it. I think it's a beautiful chart. Those colors are beautiful. I am doing this on a 16 count Ada color Amber by Witchelt. And I'll just keep stitching on there. But it's a cute, cute chart. There's a lot of start and stop, which I'm getting used to that, and I'm okay with that. But hopefully in the next few months, I will be able to show more progress on some of these. These last two charts are new charts to me. This next chart, I picked this chart because Garon's January 2023 monthly designer focus is the Blue Flower, Janine McGowan from the Blue Flower. I purchased this chart because I've always wanted to do a proper, or the Blue Flower chart, and I thought, why not? And so I purchased this chart, and I started this at the NYE 12 by 12. This is called Seasons of the Heart Autumn. This is part of a series that she has, and I thought that was so beautiful. That owl just really captured my eye. And so there's not a lot of start on here, but there's some. That's it. That's all I started. This is on a 14 count light oatmeal Ada by Fiddler's Cloth. And that's all I've started. You know, I figured if I started, it's a good start. I will stitch this. This is actually going to be, so for Garon's monthly designer focus, my thinking is that I will use these as my Sunday stitch. And Garon has Zooms that they do on Sundays for a few hours. And so I figure while I'm on Zoom, I can stitch on the designer focus design. So that's what I'm going to do. So it started. I'm going to pick this up again this week and put more stitches on there. And this last one is another one by the Stitchy Princess, Katarina. This one actually came from the February 2023 Just Cross Stitch magazine. It's called Rabbits in Winter. Oh, that's another thing. So I don't subscribe to a lot of clubs or anything like that. But I did this year because of the monthly magazine group, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. With one of the challenges for January is called Baringo. And so I needed a winter piece. And I thought, well, this is Rabbits in Winter. Why not? So I'm using this. Not a lot of stitch. Like I said, I started this past weekend. And, but I needed a piece that was winter related and something that, an outdoor activity. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. But, you know, sledding, you know, you've got the rabbits here. They're sledding. That's an outdoor activity. So that's why I picked that. But again, this is by Katarina, the Stitchy Princess. And like I said, her stuff it's just, to me, it's beautiful. It's just funky. I like funky stuff. And so yeah, so that's where I am. I don't know what I'm going to do about the white. There is a lot of white in there. I thought B5200 would be a good white on this fabric. This is a Mystic Gray by Swigart. But when I started stitching the white on there, I couldn't see it very well. So I got to find another white that will look better on this fabric. So I didn't start with the white. I started with a different color, and eventually I'll add the white on there. If you have any ideas on a good white to use on that fabric, let me know. Like I said, I'm still learning on how to use different colors and things like that. Um, and I do want to say I'm using the DMC, all the call fours. I don't change a lot of colors on my own. I'm not good at that. Unless I'm working on a project that just has a few colors, and I'll just pick whatever colors I want. Um, I, for the most part, use all the call for colors. So those are all my WIPs for now. I do have 2 other projects that I'm going to start this month, but they're not started yet, so I can't show them. I'll show them when I do another video. Oh my goodness, we're at an hour and 20 minutes. Who would have thought I'd do this long of a video? Hopefully you're still hanging on. You know, my videos are not going to be this long. This is kind of like an introduction. My WIP parade, they're not going to be this long. I figured if I can get 20-30 minutes in once a month or every few weeks, I'm good with that. But this is a longer video. Just kind of wanted to finish up with some of my plans. Oh, excuse me, for 2023. Like I said before, I am not a planner. I don't use a calendar. I just stitch on whatever I like to stitch. I did say I do participate in challenges. I'm part of a Facebook group called Monthly Magazine Challenge Group. That's by Carolyn, who is Seasook Stitch, and Robin, who's Bird's Eye Stitches. They have this Facebook group, and every month they have a challenge. And they'll come up with a form that you fill out, and you kind of just make your own rules. You pick your projects you want to work on. So I think the group was created to stitch for magazines. I did not have magazines at the time. This is why I I signed up for the Just Cross Stitch magazine online. I figured I can do the PDF. I'm a paper person. PDF works for me. I can pick charts that I like and print them off. So that's why I purchased that this last month, so that I can participate more on the monthly magazine challenge. I don't want to start a whole lot, but if a challenge says you have to stitch from a magazine, then I have a magazine to start with. So I'm part of that group. Carolyn and Robin do on January, they do what's called Baringo, which is a bingo board, and they have prompts that you pick projects, you know, WIPs that you have, and you stitch from those. So I participate in Baringo. This is my Baringo chart. I'm a picture person. Whenever I create charts, I like to have pictures. To me, it just looks a lot nicer. So these are some of the WIPs that I have. One of the ones I did not show was this one here called Remember. This is something that I picked this out of season as an end of new magazine start. So I didn't show that one because I haven't started it. Another one that I'm going to do something sparkly. So I found this on one of the magazines called, it's Eat, Stitch, Sleep, Repeat. This is actually a needle book on the magazine, on one of the cross stitch magazines. I didn't have anything sparkly, but what I did is I bought a sparkly Ada from Michaels. It's like a opalescent or something like that. So I thought, well, the fabric is going to be sparkly. I'll just put something simple on there. So that's going to be also one of the projects that I'm going to start this month. So Baringo is one of the ones that I participate in, and I like it because you kind of pick your own projects, you know, as long as they're related to the prompts that they provide. And then every day they randomly pick a number, and you work on that project for that next day for 1 hour or 100 stitches. Like I said, I don't keep track of stitches, so I will work 1 hour on those. And then this last month, I found a new floss tuber, Melanie at the Soulful Stitcher. She does, excuse me, she does what's called a year WIPs. And I don't have all the details on that. I'm still going to put that together. But in January, that starts, I think mid-January, and to run through, I want to say middle of December. But if you want more information, look her up, Melanie the Soulful Stitcher. I am going to participate on that. Other than that, Those are the challenges that I am going to participate that I know of right now. I will pick some up throughout the year. And of course, I'll pick up, Sherry from Colorado Stitcher. Sometimes she does the winter challenge, but if not, I'll be doing that in the summer. Um, and that's it. Those are really my plans. I just kind of go with the flow. If things comes up, I'll work on that and just kind of do my own thing. And that's it, guys. I do want to also mention some floss tubers. I'm not going to do that today because we're almost at an hour and a half. But one of my things is, I want to share other floss tubers with you. I want to talk about floss tubers that I enjoy watching. I follow over 80 floss tubers. That's not something I'm going to do on a one video sitting, but maybe I can do 5 or 6 every video. And just kind of get the word out there. That's one of the nice things about this cross stitch community that, you share with each other about floss tube videos or ideas or things like that. So I want to be one of those people that, I want to mention other floss tubers and vice versa. Maybe somebody will hear about me and we'll share them on our videos. But that's all that I have today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. And I'll see you next time. Bye.